Hi, I'm Chris Wardlaw for Car Gurus, and this is the 2020 Land Rover Range Rover Sport. Sized and priced between the Range Rover Velar and the legendary Range Rover flagship SUV, the Range Rover Sport offers the best of both worlds, while at the same time falling short either in terms of style or substance when compared to those models. Not only that, the Range Rover Sport inspires a love-hate relationship like few modern vehicles do. Why is that? Well, I'll explain, and I'll also tell you why I would skip this plug-in hybrid version next to me for a different edition of the Range Rover Sport. And with that, let's hit the road. For 2018, Land Rover introduced the Range Rover Velar, which is arguably the most stylish SUV in the company's lineup, even though it's not the most expensive model. Nevertheless, the more expensive Range Rover Sport looks good, especially in this extra cost Forenza red paint and with these optional 21-inch wheels. Though it's not as dramatic looking as the new Velar, it does have better visual balance than its more affordable sibling. Inside, the Range Rover Sport is more luxurious than the Velar, and depending on which version you choose, you can outfit one right up to flagship Range Rover levels of specification, if not prestige. Deciphering the various Range Rover Sport models and trim levels isn't easy, so let's try to keep it simple. Prices start at $68,650 for the Range Rover Sport SE, equipped with the turbocharged, mild hybrid, 355 horsepower 3-liter V6 engine, and rise to as high as $114,500 for the performance-tuned Range Rover Sport SVR with a supercharged 5-liter V8 cranking out 575 horsepower. In between, you've got a turbo diesel, a plug-in hybrid, a more powerful version of the mild hybrid, and a less powerful version of the supercharged V8. Upgrades from SE trim include HSE, HST, Autobiography, and SVR. My test vehicle is the new plug-in hybrid electric version, also known as the P400e. It comes in HSE and Autobiography trim, and mine has the former level of specification. The base price is a cool $79,000, and this test car has almost $13,000 in options. Factor in the $1,295 destination charge, and the grand total comes to $93,200. Having spent plenty of quality time with the Range Rover Sport HSE P400e, I can say it's not the one that I would get. This thing often comes across as half-baked. Instead, I'd be tempted to go for the torque-rich diesel, but I hate using diesel fuel pumps. So my pick would be the HSE equipped with the mild hybrid turbocharged 3-liter V6 engine. Optioned the way I'd want it, the price would come to less than $85,000. Now, I'm not going to dwell too much on design because we've got lots of technology and driving impressions to get to. I think the Range Rover Sport looks terrific, even if it lacks the presence of the flagship Range Rover and the flair of the Range Rover Velar. Inside, the quality of the materials is what you'd expect when spending this kind of cash. The Range Rover Sport looks modern and technical too, which is both a blessing and a curse, as I'll explain in a bit. Up front, the driver and passenger sit up tall on leather-wrapped thrones, surveying the proletariat from their lofty perches. Storage is limited unless you're planning to use the dual glove boxes. Thanks to an upgrade, the center bin in my test vehicle is refrigerated. Reclining rear seats are similarly comfortable, and my test vehicle includes 4-zone climate control, which made my 8-year-old proclaim this Range Rover Sport to be, and I quote her, the best test car ever. In a standard Range Rover Sport, cargo capacity measures 27.5 cubic feet behind the rear seat and 59.5 cubic feet with the rear seats folded down. In the P400e, the battery is housed under the cargo area, reducing space and eliminating the spare tire. Unfortunately, Land Rover doesn't divulge how much room the technology actually chews up. Speaking of technology, I'll advise you to approach the Range Rover Sport's digital infotainment and instrumentation systems with patience. You'll need an hour of time to get everything figured out, and you'd better have the manual handy. After that, you'll still need patience. The screens don't offer haptic feedback, and they're sometimes slow to respond, so you're often waiting for confirmation of input or you're taking another stab at whatever you're trying to do. I'd strongly recommend that Land Rover take a close look at the latest infotainment systems in the Audi A6, A7, and A8, and then copy those. As part of the climate comfort package that so pleased my daughter, this test car has a panoramic sunroof. The blind that blocks out the sun is gesture controlled, which sounds cool until you discover that it sometimes takes a few tries before it works. By the time you find success, you could have just pushed the button that closes it. Equipped with the driver assist package, my test car also has a full slate of driver assistance and collision avoidance technologies. I think the adaptive cruise control works well, but the lane centering assist system is sometimes far too obvious about what it's doing, which prompts me to turn it off most of the time. Okay, let's get to the heart of the matter, shall we? Any Range Rover Sport with a P400e badge is equipped with a plug-in hybrid powertrain. It pairs a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine with an 8-speed automatic transmission, a 105 kilowatt electric motor, a 13.1 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, and a set of regenerative brakes. Land Rover says the P400e provides 31 miles of electric driving range. Also, thanks to a 24.1-gallon fuel tank, and based on the test vehicle's trip computer, this SUV can go nearly 400 miles before needing fuel or electricity. Recharging takes 14 hours using a standard household outlet, or less than 3 hours using a high-powered home or public charging station. Refueling with gas, of course, takes much less time. Combined output measures 398 horsepower and 472 pound-feet of torque. Land Rover says the P400e can tow more than 5,500 pounds and can accelerate to 60 miles per hour in 6.3 seconds. That sounds quick, but it's slower than every other version of the Range Rover Sport except for the turbo diesel. The drivetrain operates in hybrid or a manually activated EV mode. There's also a save mode to preserve the battery for use in a specific geographic area. Top speed in EV mode is 85 miles per hour, and in hybrid mode, this SUV can reach 137 miles per hour. A permanent four-wheel drive system is standard, along with terrain response 2 technology. This is a collection of on-pavement and off-road driving modes that tailor the drivetrain to specific situations. Or you can just leave it in the auto setting and let the software figure things out. This SUV also has an air suspension that you can raise or lower depending on your needs. Raise it for water fording or off-roading, or lower it for easier entry and exit. So, what's it like to drive this plug-in hybrid SUV? Let's call the Range Rover Sport P400e a work in progress, shall we? Choose EV mode and you'd rightly expect the Range Rover to run only on electricity. However, depending on the terrain, how you're driving, and other factors, the SUV can automatically switch into hybrid mode, firing up the gas engine whether you want it to or not. That was my experience anyway, and this happened in unexpected situations, like when running the climate control system to cool the interior, or accelerating away from a traffic light. In other words, it apparently doesn't take much for the gas engine to start up and help out. When the P400e is in EV mode, it runs smoothly and quietly. When the battery is drained and the P400e is in hybrid mode, it's still smooth, but not as quiet. And frankly, the engine note doesn't befit a Range Rover Sport. When the P400e is trying to decide whether or not it should switch from EV mode to hybrid mode, it's a schizophrenic mess. Frequently, I experience delayed response and sudden thrusts of power in addition to unexplained cycling between EV mode and hybrid mode. As we shoot this video review, official fuel economy estimates are unavailable. On my mountainous testing loop, the P400e averaged 25.5 miles per gallon, and it traveled approximately 25 miles on electricity alone. That's a guess because the gasoline engine kept starting up, making it impossible to determine how far the SUV actually travels in pure electric mode. Like many regenerative braking systems, the P400e's is grabby at times, requiring some finesse on the pedal. The steering is excellent though, especially for a tall, heavy vehicle designed for serious off-roading. Speaking of weight, the P400e is heavier than every other version of the Range Rover Sport, and by as much as 675 pounds. And in spite of the Adaptive Dynamics air suspension, you can feel every one of its 5,430 pounds in the form of rocking, rolling, and head tossing. Granted, it's not as bad as it likely would be without the air suspension. And this SUV can hustle up or down a mountain road, carrying a decent amount of speed. But you're not going to have as much fun as this Range Rover's Sport moniker might lead you to expect. Neither will you always get the pure electric driving you expect when you've got a full battery and you push the EV mode button on the center console. If it sounds like I dislike the Range Rover Sport, that's simply not true. I think that the infotainment system needs work and the P400e's drivetrain is somewhat disappointing. But otherwise, the Range Rover Sport serves well in the role of a luxury SUV that's good to drive both on and off of the pavement. No doubt, when the Range Rover Sport gets its next redesign, Land Rover is going to engineer it for the pure electric driving experience that this one can't consistently deliver. Be sure to read my full review of the Range Rover Sport P400e at Car Gurus, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. For all of us here at Car Gurus, thank you very much for watching.